I remember growing up in Brazil, and the only thing I could play until I was 12 is futsal. And I want to bring the subject now to the table here, or to the stage. How important is futsal in the development of the player, especially concerning you two, Eduardo and Marcelo, in Brazil? Because that's where I mostly did what exactly Eduardo said and what Marcelo has been mentioning now. I had the freedom to go and learn myself in a small space how the game worked and figuring some things out on my own until I was taken to the next level. So how do you guys value futsal and how important it is for the development of youth?
Okay, first for Fluminense, futsal is the beginning of everything. In Rio de Janeiro, you don't have pitch. It's very difficult to find children, as in the past, playing football on the streets or on the pitch. But you have courts everywhere, schools, clubs, and then it's natural that the young ones start playing football with futsal. So it for us is our first step, is the place. Futsal is where we can find the best players in Rio. Most of our best players comes from futsal, 90% for sure. So this is the first step for us. We have, today we have in Fluminense, as I told you before, futsal inside our youth development program, starting 5, 6 years old. And then futsal will give these players the beginning. Futsal is a small size court. They are obliged to think fast, to have ability to overcome the opponent. So when they come to the pitch, when normally at Fluminense we start to put the players to play on the pitch 11 years old, when they turn 11 years old. When they are 13, they must leave the futsal. They already come with good skills, ability, and in terms of mind, for me is the most important thing, because they learn how to think in a small space, how to overcome their opponents.
Well, in my opinion, futsal is the beginning of the process. I'll take futsal as a small-sided game. When I have a small-sided game, I give the chance for the kid to touch the ball more, to be a less complex game than an 11v11, because I have a relationship with other 3 or 4 guys instead of having a relationship with other 10 in a bigger space. So when I try to talk about complexity, I use some number of players, space to cover, rules, and everything like that. Futsal creates a nice environment to understand the game on a certain level. So when we start with that, you're going to develop the 4 aspects that Mike just said: the technical, the physical, the psychosocial, and also the tactical. Even though we're not teaching the tactical itself, they are learning most of the principles that Parreira just showed us. Futsal already has. The Portuguese believe in a 3v3, the Dutch believe in a 4v4. Futsal is a small-sided game, so if we have the chance to create that environment to beginners, that's great. But even though when we're growing, we still need the small-sided games to work on a certain contents. So we are going to use the futsal concept from the beginning all the way to the end, but we try to implement that on the field at a certain age, just like Fluminense does when they turn 11. When they turn 11, they're not going to the courts anymore, because that's not specific for football 11v11. They come to the grass, to the pitch, but they still play some bigger number of fields, some small-sided games, and other activities. So yes, I truly believe that futsal, it is a must to begin training soccer.
You wanna?
In my point of view, when I look at the U.S. national teams and how we play the game in this country, the biggest deficiency, in my point of view, that we have at every level is technical ability with the ball under pressure. We struggle. We struggle at nearly every level. And I firmly believe the reason for that is because we don't have a methodology for young players. We don't have a style or a system to work with young players like they do in Brazil, like they do in Holland, like they do other places. And I have the ability to work with a lot of Brazilian players who come to our academy. And one of the things that I always say is, an average futsal player in Brazil many times is better than some of the better American players we have technically with the ball in tight spaces under pressure. And that has a lot to do with their upbringing in the game of futsal. And I'll give you a little story. I had a boy actually from 2SV come 2 years ago. His name is Mateus Martin Silva. Only a futsal player. Only a futsal player. He come to our academy as an 11th grade student. He had 2 years with us. I wasn't sure how good he would be. He had the body of a center back and the feet of a number 10. And when I saw him play futsal, I could see his skill and ability was tremendous, especially with that size of a body in tight spaces under pressure. And, you know, over the course of 2 years, Mateus finished school with us. He was fluent in English. He was the first one to graduate from high school in his family. He's from the favelas of Brazil. And he signed a professional contract in Major League Soccer for the San Jose Earthquakes, as the youngest international ever to sign for the franchise at 18 years old. And what we did was we took his technical ability, his futsal ability, and we turned him into a certain type of player using that skill to bring him to the next level. And it was a very powerful story because for us, it was the first player we ever put into MLS, and that was just last year. So I heavily believe in futsal. I believe for me, in my plan, it's the next step for us when we start to work into the grades below 12 years old, because I do believe it's a way to develop technical ability that we just don't have in this country right now.
This is something to me that was very important in my upbringing, futsal. Futsal is a place where I could tell that I could control the game. The way I rolled the ball, the way I stopped, the way I carried the field, I could see everybody moving around me. And that to me as a player was a lot more fun than playing the 11v11 outside that I never saw the ball. All kids are running left and right the same way, and there's no structure. He's still young. It's still hard to be taught. So futsal, I think, engages kids, at least like me, to want to play more, to touch the ball more, to play the game and have fun. So I hope that in the States that changes in the future as well, and that's why I touched that topic. The next one, it goes directly to you, Mike.